Sound check 1 2 1 2. Come on, brother, come loud. Bam. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. 51 Dynasties. This is your host, Saltares. You are back with another 51 minicast. Welcome in. Good morning. The time today is 9:29. This is something new that I wanted to introduce to the brand, morning casts. I've been trying, excuse me, I have been trying these past couple days. Today, if anybody's coming in, just so you're aware, today, right now, is just going to be a 51 mini cast. We're just going to be talking about some topics, some things that are going on with the SR51 Media brand. We're not going to be here too long. At minimum, at max, we'll probably be here maybe 10 minutes at most. We're looking at probably a 10-minute mini cast and we up out of here. I just wanted to get across a couple things that's going on, maybe update you on some things that, so you don't have to cruise social media and you don't have to cruise through the website. So some of the things I want to put out from the beginning is, one of the things I want to put out is I want to thank everybody that's been supporting the SR51 Media brand, everybody that's been liking, retweeting our stuff. I see all of you. Okay, we have been jumping more on social media lately to increase our presence and to get more information out. Something that I've kind of fallen in love with lately is bouncing between Twitter and Facebook. In the past, I was mainly just Twitter because I felt as though that Twitter puts you in connection with people quicker. But then, Twitter has its own kind of system and stuff like that. So, I still like it. There's nothing wrong with it. But I do like on Facebook where you can kind of basically write as long as you want to write instead of, sometimes I want to say something that's longer than 120 words. Excuse me, 120 letters. So my goal, what I can reveal it now, my goal is that in this time in the morning, we can all get up for a mini cast or some gaming or a podcast, something, something where what I've noticed is our schedule may not be as permanent as some other people, but we need to increase our presence as far as our content. Sometimes, and this falls on me, Saltares. I'm taking the blame here. Sometimes the content goes for a couple of days before there's another stream, or sometimes there's 2 or 3 days in between a stream or a podcast or anything like that. And what I'm going to start doing is making smaller content. Sometimes, if you notice with our content, I think my last stream was 5 hours. The stream before that was probably like 3 hours. The stream before that was probably like 6 hours. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when Madden 22 comes out, I'm gonna be playing it like 5 and 6 hours and stuff like that. I'm gonna be playing it late into the day. But what I think is better is I think it's better that we move our streams to the morning. And just to give you a little glimpse into, I'm not going to go too far into my personal life, but basically I work, just like every other person out here nowadays. It doesn't matter what you do, you work. That's how I learned that when I was 15. I hit the grind when I was 15. I've been out here since I was 15 years old. So I, have a lovely job with my wife and things like that. And basically we have to work. So what happens is I'm gone in the afternoon into not too late at night, but close to it. And you have to keep in mind that, we have viewers. Shout out to everybody across the world. We got viewers all the way across the world. I'm not just saying that to say it. Sometimes when I see subscribers, to be honest, I can't even pronounce some names. Some people, shout out to our Middle Eastern followers. Sometimes you guys will subscribe and you'll have your letters. I think sometimes it's Arabic and things like that. And I can't even read it. I don't speak Arabic, so I can't read it. But thank you for joining the 51 Dynasties. Everybody that joins the 51 Dynasties, if, I have trouble saying your name or something like that, know that I'm trying and I will continue to try. With you being a part of 51 Dynasties, don't feel that, it's just like you don't matter. You matter. It's just I'm English, I'm African American and things like that. And I don't speak a lot of different languages and stuff. So sometimes it's kind of hard to call names. But something I did notice is the time scale, because if I kick off a stream at 8, 9 o'clock at night, right, then that means the stream is kicking off for you guys. If I kicked it off at 9, that means count forward. If you're in the East, that means the stream came on at 10, 11, like 12 o'clock at night, right? So that means for you to watch an SR51 Media stream, you have to stay up till 12 o'clock at night. Now, the average person that works a 9 to 5 job ain't trying to hear that. Most people are like, man, I'm in the bed 9 or 10, even myself. I need to start calling in the night a little bit earlier because to tell you straight up, street outlaws, brother. Street outlaws, JJ the Boss, that Big Chief. Shout out to Street Outlaws, one of the best TV shows on TV. Shout out to Moonshiners, animations. It's so much TV out there nowadays that, when I come home from work, I be thinking like, I shouldn't kick a stream off because it's like 12 o'clock at night. I don't want the 51 Dynasties to feel like, okay, I can't catch a live stream and I can't catch up with Saltares to find out what's going on and stuff. So what I thought up was, I was like, well, if I can, I'm going to try to press myself to get up early in the morning, or at least sometime in the morning, and have a podcast or a stream going, something small to update you guys. And I kept it secret for these past couple of days because I didn't want to reveal it until I was able to do it. And today, I guess it took a couple, to be honest with you, it takes a couple of days from a content creation standpoint. It takes a couple of days for you to change your time scales. Like, you got to understand, if I go to work, which I do, I go to work in a little bit. If I go to work in these hours, then me getting up early means that I have to get up ahead of my time that I go to work to do the content. Now, that's not a complaint. That's not a problem. It's just, I feel like, well, I shouldn't say it's not a problem because everybody's tired. But what I have to do that is I have to eliminate the late night streams. Now, that doesn't mean there's not going to be a stream, because there are some days where I'm off from work. There are some days on the weekend when I'm home when I can do streams and, be more active and things like that. But during the week, what happens is the best free time that I'm seeing is probably around this time and a little bit earlier. Like, for us to have more time, for me not to be doing a 10-minute stream, that means that I actually need to get up like probably another half an hour to an hour early. So that way we can have like 45 minutes, an hour, something to maybe play the game, talk for a little bit. This was just the first 51 minicast today. I was going to try to, excuse me, let me get a sip of coffee here. Still sipping that morning coffee. Getting ready for that job. Anybody know that coffee and that teen early in the morning? So one of the things I wanted to get across while we're here for a short period is I wanted to say the update on the SR51 Media comic. Now, the reason why some information slowed there is because we are in what's called pre-production. Pre-production means like a movie, essentially. Basically, right now we are still finding out what the story is, who the characters are. I mean, I have a, let's say, rough estimate on what I want the story to be. I know how I want it to lay out. I've been working on it for a long period of time, and I feel that it's possible to do. The things that I've realized that are going to take a minute, to get done are, to be honest, one of the main things that stand out there is the legal side of things. If you need to do a little research on your own, if you're an artist, if you're thinking about coming out there, do not expose yourself to the internet until you protect yourself. Right now, there is a massive thing going on online where when artists put up their art and it is not trademarked or it's copyrighted, it's stolen. If you go on Twitter, If you go on Facebook and you look up hashtag stolen art, there is so many different artists that are talking about, oh, I put my art up and this person over here stole it and put it on a t-shirt, or I put my art up and this person over here stole it and made it into a comic book for themselves. So one of the main things, I mean, I knew this when I was a kid, you know, shout out to my grandmother who hit me with there was a great book that I read when I was in high school called How to Self-Publish Your Own Book by Tony Caputo. So basically, I was able to learn the business at a very young age before there was a digital comic. Now that there is a digital comic, you have to take that into consideration. A lot of people are back and forth. You know, some people are like, basically, I want to read the comic. What I'm learning from this whole thing is there's people that want to read the comic in paper and they want to collect the comic. And then there's people that don't want to collect comics, that just want a digital copy to be able to read. Like there's people that go to the bookstore and still buy books in paper fashion and order books to their house to read. Some people still collect comic books, and when I come out with our comic, they would, more than likely want to buy ours and add it to their collection just for value. Because a lot of times what you have to understand about comics is, and especially art, the value goes up with time. Typically your first comic is the type of thing where you make a first comic, and then let's say your comic pops around comic 10 or 12, that first comic now becomes worth more than what it was originally worth. A person might have bought it for like $6, but now it might be worth $1,000 because the artists, us, are more valuable to the public. It's kind of like when you buy hypothetically, if you had an original Spider-Man or original Superman, when it first came out, it was only worth 25 cents a dollar. But now because the brand itself is worth billions of dollars, their items are worth thousands of dollars. So that's what ends up happening. Now, I have some things that I'm thinking about when it comes to merchandise. I'm not going to go too deep into it because we don't have that much time for it here. But one of the things that I am realizing is it's going to take a good amount of trademarks and copyrights. You see what I'm saying? There's some legal hoops that have to be jumped through first. Now, this isn't a standpoint to say it's going to kill the comic, because that's not what's going on. What has to happen first is, before I can expose our story, our characters, our art, anything like that, it has to be trademarked and copyrighted first. Now, the processes that I'm going through is I'm looking at different services that do these things. I'm looking to try to do it all, not in one shot, but in steps. What I realize is that's what the problem was a couple of months ago. I was trying to do everything at once. Like, basically, I'm going to trademark everything, copyright everything at once. And to be honest with you, the bill just went too high. It's one of those type of things where it needs to be broken down into segments, so that way I can do it over some steps. Now, the reason why I'm doing it that way is because I'm looking for what's called self-publishing. Now, what that means is, self-publishing means basically we would open our own publishing brand, and then the comic book would come out, the comic or the graphic novel would come out under our brand. Now, that doesn't mean, you wouldn't be able to buy it from your local stores, because that is something that I'm taking into consideration too. While I'm at work and while I'm moving around and stuff, I try to stay up to date on what's going on in the gaming world and what's going on in the comic and graphic novel world as well. There's a lot of things and content that I want to put out, like the differences between anime and Western. A lot of people, I think, nowadays don't really understand the differences between the two. And I think that because there's there's like a lot of different generations. My generation, I think when I grew up, comics were still a thing. The internet wasn't that big. Anime was smaller. So I think a lot of people have gravitated towards anime because of the fact that that's what they grew up watching. But myself, I grew up watching 80s and 90s cartoons, X-Men and Ninja Turtles back in the day when, before all of this anime stuff took over, Looney Tunes, Animaniacs, comic books that still existed. So basically what ends up happening is, to be honest with you, it's not to say that anime isn't good, or to say that, anime isn't a good outlet or anything like that. But it's one of those things where basically future content will go into explaining, what is the differences between there and, what we're looking to do. Now, as far as gaming, before we get up out here to explain that, as far as gaming, this is not going to detract from gaming. This is why I said that we need a section. You see what I'm saying? We need a time slot, something in the morning probably, where we can have gaming, we can have talk, we can just chop it up. Because to be honest, one of the main reasons why I created SR51 Media and we created Saltares and Rose Areas was to connect with you guys and gals when it comes to these sorts of topics and things that we want to do. So I just wanted to take a minute to kind of chop it up with you this morning and explain some of the things we're going through right now, and we're in the middle of over these next couple of days. What is the goal? Just to let you know before we end this one here, the goal is that tomorrow morning we would have another cast. Now, it could be, we're going to see how much time I have available. It could be a podcast. It could be a video cast. But my goal is to have another one in the morning again and try to keep this going as, as a normal thing. So I want to thank everybody that came in here today, everybody that sat and chilled. I see all the viewers. Thank you for all the likes, retweets, views, everything you're doing. If you haven't already visited our official brand website, that website down there is our official brand website built for you guys. It is built for you guys and gals, the 51 Dynasties. So that way you can get a better understanding for who we are, what we are, and what we are about and where we are going. That website is www.sr51media.com. That is our official brand website. It has all the certificates and locks and all the stuff I'm supposed to have on there to keep up with all the other sites and stuff like that, to have all the securities. We have all that on there. We're following all the procedures. If you did not know, I am Salt Aries on Xbox. We are SR51 Media on Twitter. I am Salt Aries _51 on PlayStation. And I am Salt Aries on Nintendo. So if you have some time today, go into those profiles, add me on there, add us on social media, follow us across social media, join the 51 Dynasties. We are one of the best gaming and graphic novel and comic-based communities out here today. I had a great time sitting here talking with you guys, and you have a great rest of your day if I don't have another cast later today. So take it easy and have a good rest of your day. Peace.